the Southeast is not landlocked. Actually, the Southeast has the deepest and the shortest access to the Atlantic Ocean compared to all of Nigeria. Since after the Biafran War of survival, Ndi Igbo have been hit with a barrage of lies and propaganda, concerning our access to the ocean, and in a condescending but rather popular phrase, our detractors say that the Southeast or Ndi Igbo is landlocked. But is Ndi Igbo landlocked? The answer is no. Ndi Igbo is not. Igbo land is not landlocked. And like I said earlier, we have one of the deepest access to the ocean. Now, with this, I would like to welcome you to another interesting episode at Voice of the Sun. Today, we'll be dispelling the lies and the propaganda that says that Ndi Igbo, Igbo land, is landlocked and that we do not have access to the ocean, which is something you will always hear in the Nigerian media space. So now, before we go ahead to discuss the geography of Ndi Igbo, I would like for us to define what a landlocked region or country is, right? So, a country or region is considered landlocked when it is surrounded by one or more countries and therefore has no immediate coastline preceding, or providing access to the sea or the ocean. Now, simply put, this means that a landlocked country is a country that is inside another country. Now, with this definition, would you say that Ndi Igbo, Igbo land, is inside another country? The answer is no. The answer is no. So, to understand the far reach of our land, Ndi Igbo, let us dive into a little geography, and list the far reaches, not few, the far reaches of our land, Ndi Igbo, before the Nigerian government, carved it out, and turned them into the South, leaving us with just 5 southeastern states, right? So, Ndi Igbo are located on both sides of the River Niger, and we occupy most of the old eastern region. Before we had Southeast, we had at independence we had an old eastern region which compassed the 5 southeastern states, rivers. All the south states were under the what do you call it? The old eastern region, right? So let us look at that location, that geographical location. So Ndi Igbo, that is what I love to call Ndi Igbo. It measures up to 41,000 square kilometers, and it includes the old provinces of Onitsha, Owerri, East Rivers, which is Iguacha, which they renamed as Port Harcourt, and then we have Southwest Benin. No, not Southwest Benin. We have Southeast Benin, the Abo area, and then coming down Abo area, yes. Then we have West Ogoja, and then we have the Northeast Warri. All of these are the areas that you would find Igbo people all around the south, the old eastern Nigeria, right? So now a detailed study of Ndi Igbo will show you that. So now I'm going into the rivers, the waterways, the tributaries we have in Ndi Igbo. Now, a detailed study of our topography would show you that Abia State, Keta, Imo State, Anambra have some of the shortest distances, tributaries leading to the Atlantic Ocean. We have the Azumini or Azumiri in Abia State. We have Imo River. We have Omambala, which is River Niger. And then we have Oguta Lake in Imo State. We have Oseakwa River in Ihiala, Anambra State, which actually terminates in the southeast end of the Atlantic Ocean. And then these rivers I mentioned above, they all have very, very short navigational paths to the Atlantic Ocean. And geographically, they have far shorter distances. If you measure the distance, which is not measured in nautical miles, from land to the sea, measured in nautical miles. Not the nautical miles of these rivers, they are shorter than that of Calabar, Port Harcourt, Ibaka Seaport, to the Atlantic Ocean. One of my lights have gone off, but we must continue. So yeah. So the Azumini River in Abia State and the Imo River are basically 15 to 30 nautical miles to the beachhead of the Atlantic Ocean. Keep this in mind. The Azumini in Abia and the Imo River are 15 to 30 nautical miles to the beachhead of the Atlantic Ocean. And then we have the Obuako River in Abia State, which is 25 nautical miles. 25 nautical miles to the Atlantic Ocean from the confluence of the Azumini River and the Imo River. Where the Azumini River and the Imo River meet, there you find the Obuako River, and it has 25 nautical miles to the Atlantic Ocean. And then we have the Osakwa River in Ihiala, which I mentioned earlier, which is just a mere 18 nautical miles to the Atlantic Ocean. And it has a depth of 65 feet, making it the deepest waterway to the Atlantic Ocean, the deepest natural waterway to the Atlantic Ocean in Nigeria as a whole. Other waterways, other seaports might be deep, but they were dredged. This one is 65 feet deep. Osakwa River in Ihiala, Anambra State, the deepest in Nigeria naturally, right? So, and then we have Osemoto in Oguta. The pronunciation it's what I'm trying to get. I've not been there before. It's spelled Osemoto, Osemoto in Oguta. It has 18 nautical miles to the Atlantic Ocean, right? So to understand why I said we have the shortest and the closest and the deepest waterways to the Atlantic Ocean, let us compare the rivers I mentioned above now in Ndi Igbo to the seaports in Nigeria. So the Port Harcourt seaport was dredged up to 50 miles to the Atlantic Ocean through the Bonny River. 50. On a seaport was dredged up to 60 miles to the Atlantic Ocean. The Calabar seaport was dredged 45 miles, nautical miles. When I say miles, nautical miles, 45 nautical miles to the Atlantic Ocean. Ibaka seaport is 30 nautical miles to the Atlantic Ocean. This one comes closer to what we have in Ndi Igbo. One year, small, a little, right? 30 nautical miles to the Atlantic Ocean. And then the Lagos seaport, the seaports in Lagos, were dredged 50 nautical miles to the Atlantic Ocean. So now this means that the water in the current Southeast region alone, have fewer nautical miles and are closer to the Atlantic Ocean than the Onne, Calabar, Ibaka, Lagos, and Port Harcourt seaports, respectively. I want this to sink in so you understand that you have been lied to, we have been lied to. Let this sink in. Every other seaport in Nigeria exists today was dredged to get to where they are. But naturally, we have the shortest distance to the Atlantic Ocean. And if we further dredge these tributaries to the Atlantic Ocean, we would have some of the best seaports you have in Africa. Or let me just say in Nigeria. Right, so that being said, we move forward. So in 1959 was before our independence in 1960. So you understand where I'm going to. The Osakwa River in Ihiala and the Osemoto in Oguta were mapped out to be made seaports. You understand? They were mapped out to be made seaports. But the projects were abandoned by the Nigerian government. It's not today they started trying to hinder Igbo progress. They abandoned the project of the seaport project in Ndi Igbo. And even the Admiralty membership license was erased. To confirm what I'm saying, the African Development Bank has a report on this particular project. You can go search. I think I will find the report. It will be in an article we'll publish following this video, so you'll see it there. So that being said, so let us get to how did we Ndi Igbo. Now, before I even get to how we lost our lands as Ndi Igbo, I want you to try and wrap your head around all I have said. Ndi Igbo is not landlocked. Ndi Igbo is not landlocked. I'm repeating this so that it registers in the head of both our people and both our detractors. Ndi Igbo is not landlocked. by distance to the sea, by having multiple access tributaries to the Atlantic Ocean, and having one of the deepest waterways in the Atlantic Ocean. We are not landlocked. So let us move forward. Now, how did we lose so much of our lands? How did Ndi Igbo of this generation now come to believe that we are landlocked, we don't have access to the sea? How did we get there? So now, some of the major contributors to this, of how we lost our ancestral lands, because these are our ancestral lands, and natural access to the ocean, was the abandoned property policy, in the new formed South, and the Igbophobia, the hate of Ndi Igbo that followed the Biafran War of survival. It was a genocide on us that we had to fight to survive, with over 3 million killed. So many of our Igbo brothers, after they started to deny their Igbo-ness and ancestry, you find this a lot in Port Harcourt. You even find it across the Niger among some of our Nyoma brothers who now say they are not Igbo. But you bear Igbo names. You find the likes of Rotimi Amechi, Chibike Rotimi Amechi, Wike, that say they are not Igbo. You are answering an Igbo name. What's his name? There was one that was a Nigerian team, somebody Olisa, Sunday Olisa. Excuse me. Sunday Olisa said he was not an Igbo man. Manina as Olisa. Where is Olisa from? So, but I'm just trying to point to you how some of our Igbo brothers, they had to deny their Igbo-ness because of the stigma of that Biafran War. So, and then also by 1976, when General Olusegun Obasanjo was the then military president, he used this. There was a Justice Nasir boundary adjustment commission that was created, and they intentionally carved out Igbo territories and carved them into the new fangled, or called mangled is the word, South. They created a South, which does not exist on the map anywhere in the world. South is not a region that exists anywhere in the world, only in Nigeria. They created it to reduce the political power, the resources, and what have you of Ndi Igbo, and they created a South. That was in 1976, the work of Olusegun Obasanjo and his Justice Nasir boundary adjustment commission. That was when we lost some of our lands, and then going forward, and there are other ways too we lost our lands, but these are the major ones. Now brings us down to the state creation of states and all of that. And over the years, there was no more history. After the war, history was erased from Nigerian schools. So without teaching of history, there are certain things you wouldn't know about your people. History was erased. So Ndi Igbo did not even know their ancestry, who their brothers were, how far reached their lands were. We lost all of this with the stopping of teaching of history. Some of us know these things because we invest time in studying our history. You look at the books you see on the set. You see I have lots of history books. This is just few of what I have in my library. And then we have materials online with lots. If you don't know your history, one day you are gone. You wouldn't know a thing. A foreigner will come and lie to you that your father killed your mother, and you will believe it because you don't know your history. So going forward, we're coming to the conclusion. In conclusion, it is important for us as Ndi Igbo to know that we have a legal access to the ocean. We have a legal access to the ocean. And this legal access is known as the International Law of the Sea. The International Law of the Sea. Whether you are in Nigeria, whether we Ndi Igbo belong to Nigeria or we have a country of our own, this law gives us unhindered access to the nearest sea because we are an indigenous people. Every indigenous people who have waterways leading to the Atlantic Ocean have rights to the ocean and can say that this part of the ocean belongs to us. So among all the waterways I listed, at least we can say we have close to 8 in Ndi Igbo that have short and deep tributaries to the Atlantic Ocean. So then tomorrow you come out and tell me, or you tell my children, that we don't have access to the ocean, that we are landlocked. You lie. You understand? So whether we are in Nigeria or we're not in Nigeria, we have access to the Atlantic Ocean. Know this and know this today. Ndi Igbo is not landlocked. So and some of the other laws that back us back our legal access to the Atlantic Ocean are the United Nations Treaty of the Sea. United Nations Treaty of the Sea, and also the African Union Treaties and Conventions of the Sea. Hear me again. We have the International Law of the Sea, we have the United Nations Treaty of the Sea, and then we have the African Union Treaty and Convention of the Sea. These laws guarantee that Ndi Igbo have access to the Atlantic Ocean. And as long as Nigeria and the countries around us, Cameroon and the rest, are signatories to these international laws, then they do not have any right to prevent us from having that access. It's just that it's so bad that certain things in Nigeria have been put on the exclusive list of the federal government. Things like railway lines and, major refineries and even seaports. States can't even have seaports. If not, we can create seaports of our own. Ndi Igbo, every Imo state will create a seaport. Abia state will have a seaport. Anambra will have a seaport. And then we move ahead with our lives. But we're in a federal government where the constitution hinders the progress of a people. And that is why we are saying that we want Nigeria restructured, or we divide and we go. It's as simple as that. So, man, we'll leave that. We'll leave this part. This is what I just said now for another video entirely. So, we have access to the Atlantic Ocean, and we have multiple access to the Atlantic Ocean. If you go through River Niger, if River Niger is dredged, because most of the seaports in Nigeria were dredged to get to the Atlantic Ocean. River Niger is dredged. We would through Bonny, we'll be at the Atlantic Ocean. The big ships come dock, at the seaport with smaller vessels. They come into Onitsha, and we offload them. Onitsha main market keeps boosting. You understand? And when people tell you that they can't dredge waters, it's a lie. It's a lie. There are places in the world where they were just tiny waterways. They were dredged to have that now I will call them major seaports and access to the sea. London has a seaport, but they don't have access to the sea. They had to dredge their way to the sea, and most of the ships that come into the UK come to London, but London has a waterway to the sea which it dredged. There's this I've forgotten the name. We'll leave this for another video. But the summary of what I'm saying, I'm telling you, is that Ndi Igbo is not landlocked. Ndi Igbo is not landlocked. Tell this to our enemies, tell this to our detractors, tell this to your children, tell this to your family members, that we have multiple access to the Atlantic Ocean. And with this, I'll come to the end of this interesting and educative episode of Voice of the Sun. If you have any opinion or comments, you can drop them wherever you find this video, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, wherever. And feel free to please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also follow us on Facebook and on Twitter, wherever you find this video, and also share this video so that our people will know the truth about who we are and what we have. Ndebanye, Oya Dio Gozo. Till next time when we meet again, Dalono, there, man.